Imagine keeping thousands, maybe millions, more of your hard-earned money without breaking a single law. What if the tax code, that dreaded beast we all fear, was actually your ticket to building massive wealth? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because Tax-Free Wealth, How to Build Massive Wealth by Permanently Lowering Your Taxes by Tom Wheelwright is about to flip everything you thought you knew about taxes upside down. This isn't just another dry finance book, it's a bold, eye-opening guide that reveals how the wealthy use the tax system as a secret weapon to grow their fortunes, and how you can too. Curious yet? Stick around, because by the end of this summary, you'll see taxes not as a burden, but as a roadmap to financial freedom. Let's start with the man behind the book, Tom Wheelwright. He's not just any CPA. He's the tax advisor to Robert Kiyosaki, the legendary author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, one of the best-selling personal finance books of all time. Wheelwright has spent decades helping entrepreneurs, investors, and business owners slash their tax bills while staying 100% legal. As the founder of Wealthability, a firm dedicated to empowering wealth builders, he's worked with thousands of clients to turn tax codes into profit machines. His expertise isn't just theoretical, it's battle-tested in the real world, making him a trusted voice for anyone serious about keeping more of their money. When someone like Wheelwright, who's helped millionaires save millions, says the tax system can work for you, you listen. In Tax-Free Wealth, Wheelwright pulls back the curtain on a system most of us are taught to dread. Taxes, he argues, aren't the enemy, they're a tool. Governments design tax codes to incentivize behaviors like starting businesses, investing in real estate, or creating jobs. The wealthy know this and use it to pay less, sometimes zero, while the rest of us overpay because we don't know the rules. With 24 chapters split into 2 parts, Wheelwright breaks down the tax code into simple, actionable strategies. Part 1 shows you how to make the tax law your ally, while Part 2 lays out a step-by-step plan to create tax-free or tax-deferred income. Whether you're a small business owner, a side hustler, or just someone tired of losing half your paycheck to taxes, this book promises to change the game. So, what's the catch? How do you go from dreading tax season to using it to build wealth? What specific moves can you make to legally lower your taxes and keep more of your money? And why do the rich seem to know something we don't? By the end of this summary, you'll discover the secrets Wheelwright shares, secrets that could save you thousands and set you on the path to financial independence. Keep listening to uncover the strategies that could transform your financial future. Chapter 1. The Big Idea: Taxes Aren't What You Think. Let's kick things off with a truth bomb. Taxes aren't a fact of life you just have to accept. Forget the idea that you work, pay half your income to the government, and call it a day. The tax code isn't a punishment, it's a playbook. Governments write tax laws to encourage things like starting businesses, buying real estate, or creating jobs. The wealthy know this and use it to pay way less than the average person. Meanwhile, most of us are stuck overpaying because we don't know the rules. Think about it. Have you ever wondered why millionaires seem to skate through tax season while you're sweating over your tax return? It's not because they're cheating, it's because they're playing a different game. The tax code is like a treasure map, and the first chapter shows you how to start reading it. The big takeaway? You don't need to be a billionaire to win at this game. Whether you're a teacher, a freelancer, or a small business owner, you can use the same strategies to keep more of your money. Here's a real-world example. Imagine a small business owner who is paying 40% of their income in taxes. By learning just a few simple deductions, like claiming their home office or business travel, they cut their tax bill in half. That's thousands of dollars back in their pocket, all because they took the time to learn the rules. The message is clear: taxes aren't fixed. They're flexible, and with the right knowledge, you can bend them in your favor. But why does this matter so much? That's where the next big idea comes in, and it's a wake-up call you can't ignore. Chapter 2. Taxes, your biggest money drain. Now, let's get real. Taxes are probably eating up more of your money than anything else in your life. More than your rent, your car, or even that fancy coffee habit. For most people, taxes gobble up 30 to 50% of their income, and that's not just income tax. Add in payroll taxes, sales taxes, and all the little fees, and it's no wonder your bank account feels like it's on life support. This section hits hard, showing you just how much taxes are costing you and why you need to act now. Here's the kicker: the rich don't pay nearly as much as you do. Why? Because they don't rely on the same kind of income. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, your paycheck, called W-2 income, gets hammered with high tax rates and barely any deductions. But if you're a business owner or an investor, you're swimming in tax breaks, like deductions for equipment, travel, or even your phone bill. It's not fair, but it's how the system works. The good news? You can get in on this too. Take a look at how this plays out. A regular employee might pay $15,000 in taxes on a $50,000 salary. But a real estate investor earning the same amount could pay next to nothing by using deductions like depreciation on their properties. The difference isn't luck, it's strategy. The wealthy structure their income to take advantage of the tax code's loopholes, and this section lays out why that's a game changer. It's not just about numbers, though, it's about mindset. Most of us avoid thinking about taxes until April rolls around, and by then, it's too late. The book pushes you to stop being reactive and start planning ahead. Imagine saving thousands just by knowing which expenses you can deduct or how to shift your income to a lower tax category. It's like finding money you didn't know you had. But to do that, you need to understand how income works, and that's where the next big idea comes in. Chapter 3. The 3 types of income, your key to tax savings. Okay, here's where things get juicy. Not all income is taxed the same way, and this section breaks it down into 3 types: earned, portfolio, and passive. Each one has its own tax rules, and once you understand them, you'll see why the rich stay rich and how you can start playing their game. First up, earned income. This is what most people have: your salary, wages, or tips from a job. It's the money you work hard for, but here's the bad news: it's taxed at the highest rates, sometimes up to 50% depending on where you live. Plus, you get almost no deductions. If you're an employee, you're basically handing over a huge chunk of your paycheck before it even hits your bank account. It's like running a race with weights tied to your ankles. Next, there's portfolio income, which comes from investments like stocks, bonds, or selling assets for a profit, called capital gains. This is taxed at lower rates, usually 15 to 20% for long-term gains in the US. That's a big step up from earned income. For example, if you buy a stock and sell it after a year for a $10,000 profit, you might pay just $1,500 in taxes instead of $4,000 like you would on a salary. The trick? Hold investments longer to qualify for those lower rates. Finally, the goldmine, passive income. This is money from things like rental properties, royalties, or businesses you don't actively run. Passive income is the holy grail because it comes with the best tax breaks. For instance, real estate investors can use something called depreciation to write off part of their property's value, even if it's making them money. One example in the book shows a landlord earning $50,000 a year from rentals, but paying 0 taxes because of deductions. 0. That's the kind of strategy that can change your life. The big lesson here is that you need to shift your income from earned to portfolio or passive to pay less in taxes. You don't have to quit your job overnight, just start small. Maybe launch a side hustle to claim business deductions or buy a rental property to tap into passive income. The book makes it clear: the type of income you earn decides how much you keep. These first 3 chapters are a wake-up call. Taxes aren't just a bill you pay. They're a massive opportunity to build wealth if you know the rules. By seeing the tax code as a tool, understanding how it's your biggest expense, and learning the 3 types of income, you're already thinking like the wealthy. The best part? You don't need to be a tax expert to start. Simple steps, like starting a small business or investing in a rental property, can unlock deductions and lower rates that put thousands back in your pocket. But here's the question burning in your mind: how do you actually make these changes? What are the specific moves to turn your income into tax-free wealth? The rest of Tax-Free Wealth dives into practical strategies, from setting up a business to buying real estate like a pro. Stick with us for the next part of this summary, where we'll unpack more of these life-changing tips. Chapter 4. Deductions, the tax code's hidden gold. Imagine finding a stack of cash you didn't know you had, just by knowing a few simple rules. That's what deductions are, hidden gold in the tax code that most people completely miss. Chapter 4 is all about turning everyday expenses into tax-saving superpowers. The big idea? The tax code rewards people who spend money in ways that boost the economy, like running a business or investing. If you're not claiming deductions, you're leaving money on the table. Here's how it works. Deductions let you subtract certain expenses from your income before the government calculates your taxes. The less taxable income you have, the less you pay. For employees, deductions are limited, think mortgage interest or charitable donations. But for business owners? It's a whole different ball game. You can deduct things like your home office, internet bill, car expenses, even meals with clients. One example sticks out. A freelancer who started tracking business-related expenses, like their laptop and coffee shop meetings, ended up saving $5,000 a year in taxes. That's real money back in their pocket. The chapter stresses that deductions aren't just for the ultra-rich. Anyone can start small, say, by launching a side hustle. Even a part-time gig selling crafts online can unlock deductions for supplies, shipping, or part of your rent if you work from home. The trick is to keep good records and know what qualifies. The tax code is packed with opportunities, but you've got to be proactive. It's like a buffet. You don't get the good stuff unless you get up and grab it. Another key point is timing. Some deductions, like business expenses, can be taken right away, while others, like certain investment losses, might carry forward to future years. The chapter also warns against common mistakes, like missing deadlines or not documenting expenses properly. It's not about being a tax genius, it's about being smart and organized. By the end of this chapter, you're itching to dig into your own expenses and find those hidden deductions. Chapter 5, Real Estate, the Ultimate Tax Shelter. What if you could make money, save on taxes, and build wealth all at the same time? That's the power of real estate. And Chapter 5 makes it clear why it's the ultimate tax shelter. Real estate isn't just about owning property. It's about using the tax code to supercharge your returns. This chapter is a goldmine for anyone curious about how the wealthy turn bricks and mortar into tax-free cash. The star of the show here is depreciation, a tax trick that lets you write off part of a property's value every year, even if it's going up in price. Imagine buying a rental property for $200,000. The tax code might let you deduct $7,000 a year as depreciation, even if your property's value climbs to $250,000. That deduction can offset your rental income, meaning you might pay zero taxes on the money you're earning. One real estate investor in the book did exactly this, turning a $50,000 annual profit into a tax-free windfall. Then there's the 1031 exchange, a strategy that lets you sell a property and reinvest the money into another one without paying capital gains taxes. It's like hitting pause on your tax bill, letting your wealth grow tax-deferred for years. The chapter shares a story of an investor who flipped multiple properties over a decade, deferring hundreds of thousands in taxes while building a massive portfolio. It's not cheating, it's just smart. Real estate also offers deductions for mortgage interest, property taxes, and maintenance costs. Even better, you don't need to be a millionaire to start. A single rental property or even a room you rent out on Airbnb can unlock these benefits. The chapter emphasizes that real estate is accessible to anyone willing to learn and take action. It's not about having tons of cash. It's about using the tax code to make your money work harder. By the end, you're ready to call a realtor and start hunting for your first property. Chapter 6, Your Tax Advisor, Your Wealth Building Partner. Ever tried doing your taxes alone and ended up with a headache? Chapter 6 is your wake-up call to stop going it alone and get a tax advisor who's more than just a number cruncher. The right tax advisor isn't just there to file your returns, they're your partner in building wealth. This chapter lays out why a proactive, knowledgeable advisor is worth their weight in gold and how to find one. Here's the deal. Most tax preparers are focused on compliance, filling out forms correctly and keeping you out of trouble. That's fine, but it won't make you rich. A great tax advisor, on the other hand, looks at your financial goals and finds ways to use the tax code to get you there. They're like a coach who knows every play in the tax playbook. For example, one business owner in the book was overpaying taxes by $20,000 a year because their old accountant missed key deductions. A new advisor restructured their business and cut their tax bill in half. The chapter breaks down what to look for in an advisor. You want someone who understands wealth-building strategies, like real estate or business deductions, not just basic tax forms. They should ask about your goals. Are you saving for retirement? Starting a business? Investing in property? And tailor a plan to minimize your taxes. It's not about finding the cheapest option, it's about finding someone who saves you more than they cost. There's also a warning: not all advisors are created equal. Some are stuck in old-school thinking, missing out on creative, legal strategies. The book suggests interviewing advisors, asking about their experience with tax planning for businesses or investments, and checking if they stay updated on tax law changes. It's like hiring a personal trainer. You want someone who pushes you to win, not just go through the motions. The chapter wraps up with a powerful point: a good tax advisor doesn't just save you money today, they help you build wealth for tomorrow. They can spot opportunities, like shifting income to lower tax categories or timing deductions for maximum impact. By the end, you're convinced that finding the right advisor is one of the smartest moves you can make. These 3 chapters, 4, 5, and 6, are like a crash course in tax-smart wealth building. Deductions turn your everyday expenses into tax savings, real estate offers a playground of tax breaks, and a great tax advisor ties it all together with a plan tailored to you. The beauty is that you don't need to be a tax expert or a millionaire to start. A side hustle, a rental property, or a single meeting with the right advisor can kick things off. The tax code is full of opportunities, but you've got to take the first step. What's next? The book dives deeper into specific strategies, like setting up a business or maximizing investments, to keep your wealth growing and your taxes shrinking. Chapter 7: Business, the ultimate tax shelter. Imagine turning your side hustle or dream business into a money-saving superpower. Chapter 7 is all about why owning a business is one of the best ways to cut your taxes and build wealth at the same time. The tax code loves business owners. It's like a VIP pass to deductions and benefits that employees can only dream of. This chapter shows you how to cash in, even if you're just starting out. Here's the deal: when you run a business, almost everything you spend money on to keep it going can be a tax deduction. Your laptop, phone, internet, even part of your rent if you work from home, all of these can lower your taxable income. The book shares a story of a graphic designer who started freelancing on the side. By claiming deductions for their home office, software subscriptions, and client meetings, they saved $6,000 in taxes their first year. That's cash they could reinvest or spend on their dreams. The chapter breaks down different types of businesses: sole proprietorships, LLCs, S-Corp, and how each can save you money. For example, an S-Corp can let you pay yourself a salary while taking the rest as dividends, which are taxed at lower rates. It's not about being a big-shot CEO. Even a part-time gig selling crafts or driving for a ride-share app can unlock these benefits. The key is to treat your side hustle like a real business, with proper records and a separate bank account. Another gem is the idea of hiring your kids or spouse. If you pay them for legit work, like managing your website or answering emails, you can deduct their wages, and they might pay little to no taxes if their income is low. It's like keeping money in the family while shrinking your tax bill. The chapter emphasizes that starting a business doesn't have to be scary or expensive. It's about taking small steps to tap into the tax code's rewards. By the end, you're itching to brainstorm your next business idea. Chapter 8: Investing, your path to tax-advantaged growth. What if your investments could grow faster because you're paying less to the government? Chapter 8 is all about using the tax code to supercharge your investment returns. It's not just about picking stocks or funds, it's about choosing investments that come with tax breaks, letting your money compound without the taxman taking a bite. The chapter dives into capital gains, which are profits from selling investments like stocks or real estate. These are taxed at lower rates than your regular paycheck, often 15 to 20% instead of 30 to 50%. The trick? Hold your investments for at least a year to qualify for long-term capital gains rates. For example, if you sell a stock for a $10,000 profit after holding it for 13 months, you might pay just $1,500 in taxes instead of $3,000 or more. That's a huge difference over time. Then there's the power of tax-deferred accounts, like IRAs or 401ks. These let your investments grow without taxes eating away at your gains each year. You only pay taxes when you withdraw the money, ideally when you're in a lower tax bracket, like retirement. The book shares a story of an investor who maxed out their Roth IRA contributions, letting their money grow tax-free for decades. By retirement, they had a nest egg worth hundreds of thousands, with zero taxes owed on withdrawals. The chapter also touches on more advanced strategies, like investing in businesses or real estate partnerships that qualify for special tax credits. For instance, investing in renewable energy projects can come with tax breaks that boost your returns. The big takeaway? You don't need to be a Wall Street guru to invest tax smart. Start with simple moves like a retirement account or holding investments longer, and you're already ahead of the game. This chapter leaves you pumped to rethink your investment strategy. Chapter 9: Retirement Accounts, Your Tax-Free Future. Saving for retirement sounds boring, right? Wrong. Chapter 9 turns retirement accounts into a thrilling tool for building tax-free wealth. These accounts aren't just for stashing cash. They're like a secret vault where your money can grow without the government dipping its hands in. This chapter shows you how to use retirement plans to save taxes now and later. There are two main types of accounts to know: traditional and Roth. With a traditional IRA or 401k, you contribute money before taxes, which lowers your taxable income today. Your investments grow tax-deferred, and you pay taxes only when you withdraw the money in retirement. For example, if you put $6,000 into a traditional IRA, you might save $1,500 in taxes if you're in a 25% tax bracket. That's like an instant return on your investment. A Roth IRA, on the other hand, is funded with after-tax money, but the growth and withdrawals are tax-free. Imagine contributing $5,000 a year to a Roth IRA for 20 years. If it grows to $250,000, you can pull it all out in retirement without paying a dime in taxes. The book tells a story of a young couple who started a Roth IRA in their 20s. By their 60s, they had a tax-free fortune, giving them freedom to travel and live big. The chapter also covers self-directed IRAs, which let you invest in things like real estate or private businesses inside your retirement account. One investor used a self-directed IRA to buy a rental property, combining the tax benefits of real estate with the tax-free growth of a retirement account. It's like double-dipping in tax savings. The key point? Start early and contribute regularly, even if it's just a little. The tax code rewards savers, and the earlier you start, the more your money compounds. The chapter also warns about pitfalls, like withdrawing money early and getting hit with penalties. Chapters 7 through 9 are like a blueprint for turning your financial life into a tax-saving machine. Starting a business opens the door to deductions that keep more money in your pocket. Smart investing, with tricks like long-term capital gains and tax-deferred accounts, lets your wealth grow faster. And retirement accounts? They're your ticket to a tax-free future, whether you're 25 or 55. The best part is you don't need to be rich to start. A small business idea, a few bucks in an IRA, or a single stock held for a year can kick things off. The tax code is full of opportunities, but it's up to you to grab them. The book keeps going with more strategies, like advanced real estate moves and international tax tips, to take your wealth to the next level. Chapter 10: Leveraging your business for tax savings. I always thought running a business was just about making money, but this chapter blew my mind. It's also a tax-saving machine. I learned that the tax code is practically begging me to start or grow a business because it comes with so many ways to cut my taxes. It's like the government saying, "Hey, take a risk, create jobs, and I'll reward you with deductions. Here's what got me excited. When I own a business, I can deduct almost anything I spend to keep it running. My office supplies, marketing costs, even part of my car expenses if I use it for work, all of these can lower my taxable income. I read about a small business owner who saved $10,000 a year just by deducting their travel expenses for client meetings. That's money I could reinvest in my business or use to live a little bigger. What's cool is I don't need a huge company to make this work. Even my side hustle, say, selling custom t-shirts online, can unlock deductions like my internet bill or the cost of my design software. The chapter walked me through different business structures, like LLCs or partnerships, and how they affect my taxes. Chapter 11, Advanced Real Estate Strategies. Okay, I already knew real estate was a tax shelter from earlier chapters, but Chapter 11 took it to another level. I'm now obsessed with how I can use property to build wealth and save taxes in ways I never imagined. It's like real estate is a cheat code for keeping more of my money, and I'm ready to play the game. One strategy that grabbed me is cost segregation, which is a fancy way of saying I can depreciate parts of my property faster. Normally, I'd write off a rental property's value over 27.5 years, but cost segregation lets me break it down into pieces, like appliances or flooring, and depreciate those over just 5 to 7 years. I read about a landlord who used this trick on a $300,000 property and saved $20,000 in taxes in 1 year. That's cash I could use to buy another property. Then there's the like-kind exchange, or 1031 exchange, which lets me sell a property, buy another one, and defer paying taxes on the profit. I was amazed by the story of an investor who kept swapping properties over 15 years. Building $1 million portfolio without paying a dime in capital gains taxes. It's like hitting the pause button on taxes while my wealth grows. I also learned about using real estate in my retirement accounts, like a self-directed IRA. I could buy a rental property inside my IRA, and all the rental income grows tax-free until I retire. The chapter made it clear that I don't need to be a real estate mogul to start. Even a small duplex or a vacation rental can unlock these benefits. I just need to learn the rules and maybe team up with a pro who knows real estate tax law. This chapter has me dreaming of my first property deal and the tax savings that come with it. Chapter 12, Asset Protection and Tax Planning. I'll be honest, before this chapter, I never thought much about protecting my money from lawsuits or unexpected tax hits. But Chapter 12 opened my eyes to how I can shield my wealth while keeping my taxes low. It's like building a fortress around my money, and I'm all in for that kind of security. The big idea here is asset protection, which means setting up my finances so my money is safe from creditors, lawsuits, or even the IRS. I learned that simple moves, like setting up an LLC for my business or real estate, can keep my personal assets, like my house or savings, out of reach if something goes wrong. One story stuck with me. A business owner got sued, but because their properties were in separate LLCs, their personal wealth was untouchable. That's the kind of peace of mind I want. The chapter also showed me how to combine asset protection with tax planning. For example, I can use trusts to hold my investments, which not only protects them but also cuts my taxes in some cases. A trust might let me pass wealth to my kids without a huge tax bill. I was surprised to learn that even middle-class folks like me can use trusts. It's not just for the super rich. Another tip is about timing. I can plan my income and deductions to stay in a lower tax bracket, especially in years when I expect a big payout, like selling a property. The chapter shared an example of an investor who spread out their capital gains over a few years to avoid jumping into a higher tax bracket, saving thousands. It's all about thinking ahead and working with a tax pro who gets this stuff. This chapter made me realize that protecting my wealth is just as important as building it. I don't want to lose everything I've worked for because of one bad lawsuit or a tax mistake. It's got me thinking about meeting with a lawyer or advisor to set up my own protection plan. Chapters 10 through 12 have me fired up. I'm seeing my business as a tax-saving powerhouse, dreaming of real estate deals that cut my taxes to almost nothing, and feeling ready to protect my money like a pro. But Chapter 12 opened my eyes to how I can shield my wealth while keeping my taxes low. It's like building a fortress around my money, and I'm all in for that kind of security. The big idea here is asset protection, which means setting up my finances so my money is safe from creditors, lawsuits, or even the IRS. I learned that simple moves, like setting up an LLC for my business or real estate, can keep my personal assets, like my house or savings, out of reach if something goes wrong. One story stuck with me. A business owner got sued, but because their properties were in separate LLCs, their personal wealth was untouchable. That's the kind of peace of mind I want. The chapter also showed me how to combine asset protection with tax planning. For example, I can use trusts to hold my investments, which not only protects them but also cuts my taxes in some cases. A trust might let me pass wealth to my kids without a huge tax bill. I was surprised to learn that even middle-class folks like me can use trusts. It's not just for the super rich. Another tip is about timing. I can plan my income and deductions to stay in a lower tax bracket, especially in years when I expect a big payout, like selling a property. The chapter shared an example of an investor who spread out their capital gains over a few years to avoid jumping into a higher tax bracket, saving thousands. It's all about thinking ahead and working with a tax pro who gets this stuff. This chapter made me realize that protecting my wealth is just as important as building it. I don't want to lose everything I've worked for because of one bad lawsuit or a tax mistake. It's got me thinking about meeting with a lawyer or advisor to set up my own protection plan. Chapters 10 through 12 have me fired up. I'm seeing my business as a tax-saving powerhouse, dreaming of real estate deals that cut my taxes to almost nothing, and feeling ready to protect my money like a pro. The best part? I don't need to be a millionaire to make this happen. A small business, a single rental property, or a smart asset protection plan can start saving me money today. These chapters showed me that the tax code isn't some scary monster. It's a tool I can use if I'm willing to learn and act. The book keeps going with more ways to grow my wealth, like international tax strategies and advanced deductions, and I can't wait to dig in. Chapter 13, Tax Credits, Free Money from the Government. Okay, I need to start with this. Tax credits are like getting a check from the government, and I had no idea how awesome they are until this chapter. Unlike deductions, which just lower my taxable income, tax credits directly cut my tax bill dollar for dollar. If I owe $5,000 in taxes and find a $2,000 tax credit, I only pay $3,000. It's like free money, and Chapter 13 is all about how I can grab it. The tax code is packed with credits for things the government wants to encourage, like going green, hiring employees, or investing in certain industries. For example, I learned about energy credits for installing solar panels on my home or rental property. One story blew me away. A small business owner put solar panels on their office and got a $10,000 tax credit, plus deductions for the installation costs. That's a double win: lower taxes and a greener planet. There are also credits for hiring people, especially in underserved areas. If I start a business and hire someone from a targeted group, like a veteran or someone from a low-income community, I could get a credit of up to $9,000 per employee. I'm already imagining how I could grow my side hustle and save taxes at the same time. The chapter also mentions credits for things like research and development, which sound fancy but can apply to small businesses experimenting with new products. The key is to know what's out there and act fast, because some credits have deadlines or caps. I don't need to be a big corporation to qualify. A side gig or small investment can open the door. The chapter got me thinking about talking to a tax pro to hunt down every credit I'm eligible for. It's like a treasure hunt, and I'm ready to start digging. By the end, I'm buzzing with ideas about how to turn these credits into cash in my pocket. Chapter 14, International Tax Strategies, Thinking Like a Global Wealth Builder. I've always thought international tax stuff was for jet-setting millionaires, but Chapter 14 showed me I don't need a private plane to play this game. It's all about using global opportunities to lower my taxes and grow my wealth, and it's way more accessible than I thought. This chapter feels like a peek into the playbook of the ultra-wealthy, and I'm hooked. One big idea is offshore accounts, not the shady stuff you see in movies, but legal ways to hold money in countries with lower taxes. For example, I could set up a business in a place like Puerto Rico, where certain tax breaks let U.S. citizens pay way less on business income. I read about an entrepreneur who moved their online business to Puerto Rico and cut their tax rate to almost nothing, saving tens of thousands a year. It's not about dodging taxes, it's about picking a smarter playing field. Another strategy is investing in foreign real estate. Some countries offer tax incentives for foreigners who buy property or start businesses, and I can combine those with U.S. tax breaks like depreciation. The chapters shared a story of an investor who bought a rental property in Costa Rica, used U.S. tax deductions, and got local tax breaks, turning a vacation home into a tax-saving machine. I'm already daydreaming about a beachfront property that pays for itself. The chapter also talks about foreign tax credits. If I pay taxes to another country, I can often claim a credit to avoid double taxation in the US. This means I can expand my business or investments globally without getting hit twice. But here's the catch: international tax rules are tricky, so I need a tax advisor who knows this stuff cold. The chapter warns against DIY mistakes that could land me in hot water with the IRS. What I love most is how this chapter makes me think bigger. I don't have to move to another country or be a billionaire to use these strategies. Even a small online business or a single foreign investment can open doors. It's like the tax code is saying, "Go global, and I'll reward you." I'm left feeling like the world is full of possibilities, and I'm ready to explore them. Chapters 13 and 14 have my head spinning with excitement. Tax credits are like free cash waiting for me to claim, whether I'm going green or hiring for my business. And international tax strategies? They make me feel like I can play the same game as the global elite, even if I'm just starting out. The best part is I don't need to be a tax genius to make this work. A little knowledge and the right advisor can unlock huge savings. These chapters showed me that the tax code is full of opportunities to keep more of my money, whether I'm claiming credits at home or thinking globally. The book keeps going with more ways to build wealth, like advanced business structures and estate planning, and I'm dying to see what's next. Part 2. Your Tax Strategy for Tax-Free Wealth, Chapters 15 to 24. Buckle up, because Part 2 of Tax-Free Wealth is where I get the real playbook for turning tax rules into a wealth-building machine. Spanning Chapters 15 to 24, this section dives into practical, step-by-step strategies to slash my taxes and grow my fortune, all while staying on the right side of the law. I'm talking about everything from setting up a business structure that saves me thousands to using trusts and retirement plans to protect my money. It's like getting a masterclass in how the rich play the tax game, except it's for me, whether I'm running a side hustle or dreaming of real estate deals. These chapters break down complex ideas into simple moves I can actually use, with real-world examples that make me feel like I'm already winning. From maximizing deductions to planning for a tax-free retirement, Part 2 is my guide to building a personalized tax strategy that keeps more cash in my pocket. I'm pumped to see how these 10 chapters can transform my financial future, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. Chapter 15. Choosing the Right Business Entity. I always thought picking a business structure was just paperwork, but this chapter showed me it's a game changer for saving taxes. It's all about choosing the right setup, whether it's a sole proprietorship, LLC, S-Corp, or C-Corp, to maximize tax breaks and protect my money. The tax code treats each one differently, and picking the wrong one could cost me thousands. Here's what hit me: a sole proprietorship is simple, but it leaves my personal assets exposed if something goes wrong, like a lawsuit. An LLC, on the other hand, shields my house and savings while letting me deduct business expenses like my phone or travel costs. I read about a freelancer who switched to an LLC and saved $4,000 a year by claiming deductions they couldn't as a sole proprietor. That's money I could use to grow my business or invest. The chapter also dives into S-Corp, which can save me big on self-employment taxes. By paying myself a reasonable salary and taking the rest as dividends, I could cut my tax bill significantly. For example, A consultant in the book switched to an S-corp and saved $8,000 a year because dividends aren't subject to Social Security or Medicare taxes. C-corp are more for big businesses, but they can offer perks like deducting health insurance or employee benefits. What I love is how this chapter makes it clear I don't need to be a corporate giant to benefit. Even my side hustle selling crafts online can use an LLC to save taxes and protect me. The key is to match the entity to my goals, growth, protection, or tax savings, and talk to a tax pro to set it up right. I'm already thinking about what structure fits my dreams best. Chapter 16: Real Estate Partnerships. Teamwork makes the tax dream work. I'm obsessed with real estate after this book, and Chapter 16 takes it up a notch by showing me how partnerships can make property investing even more tax-friendly. I don't need to go it alone. Teaming up with others can spread the cost, boost my returns, and unlock extra tax breaks. It's like having a squad that helps me build wealth faster. The chapter explains how real estate partnerships, like limited partnerships or LLCs, let me pool money with others to buy bigger properties, like apartment buildings or commercial spaces, that I couldn't afford solo. The tax code loves these deals because they create jobs and housing, so I get perks like depreciation and interest deductions. I was blown away by a story of a group of investors who formed an LLC to buy a small apartment complex. They split the profits but used depreciation to pay zero taxes on their rental income. That's the kind of teamwork I want and on. Another cool trick is using partnerships to split income in tax-smart ways. If I partner with someone in a lower tax bracket, we can structure the deal so they get more of the taxable income, lowering the overall tax hit. The chapter also talks about bringing in silent partners, who invest money but don't manage the property, letting me control the deal while still getting tax benefits. The big lesson? Partnerships let me think bigger without needing a fortune up front. I just need to find the right partners and set up the deal properly with a lawyer or advisor. This chapter has me dreaming of teaming up with friends or family to buy my first big property and save taxes like a pro. Chapter 17: Tax-Free Exchanges. Keep your wealth growing. This chapter had me shouting, "Why didn't I know this sooner?" It's all about tax-free exchanges, like the 1031 exchange, which let me sell one investment, like a property, and buy another without paying taxes on the profit. It's like hitting pause on my tax bill, letting my money grow bigger and faster. I'm hooked on how this can supercharge my wealth. Here's how it works. If I sell a rental property for a $100,000 profit, I'd normally owe taxes on that gain, maybe $20,000 or more. But with a 1031 exchange, I can reinvest that profit into another property and defer the taxes indefinitely. I read about an investor who used 1031 exchanges to trade up from a small duplex to a multi-million-dollar commercial building over a decade, paying zero taxes along the way. That's the kind of move that builds empires. The chapter also covers other exchanges, like swapping business equipment, or even art, but real estate is the star. The catch is that I have to follow strict rules, like identifying the new property within 45 days and closing within 180 days. It's not DIY territory. I need a qualified intermediary to handle the process and keep it legal. What's exciting is that I don't need to be a real estate mogul to use this. Even a single rental property or a small investment can qualify. The chapter also mentions combining 1031 exchanges with other strategies, like depreciation, to maximize savings. For example, I could swap a property, defer taxes, and then deduct depreciation on the new one. It's like stacking tax breaks on top of each other. This chapter left me eager to scout properties and plan my first exchange. Chapters 15 through 17 are like a crash course in making the tax code my best friend. I'm buzzing about picking the right business entity to save taxes and protect my assets. Maybe an LLC for my side hustle, or an S-corp if I grow bigger. Real estate partnerships have me dreaming of teaming up to buy properties I couldn't afford alone, all while racking up tax breaks. And tax-free exchanges? They're my new obsession for keeping my wealth growing without the taxman taking a cut. The best part is I don't need to be rich to start. just a little knowledge and some smart planning. These chapters make me feel like I'm finally playing the wealth game like the pros, and the book's got more tricks up its sleeve, like advanced deductions and retirement strategies. I'm ready to keep learning and start saving. Chapter 18: Timing Your Income and Deductions. I used to think tax season was just about scrambling in April, but this chapter flipped that on its head. It's all about timing. When I earn income and claim deductions can make or break my tax bill. By planning ahead, I can keep thousands more in my pocket, and it's way easier than I expected. Here's the big idea. The tax code taxes my income based on my tax bracket, which changes depending on how much I earn each year. If I can shift income to a lower tax year or bunch deductions into 1 year, I can save a ton. For example, I read about a freelancer who delayed sending invoices until January instead of December, dropping their income into a lower tax bracket and saving $3,000 in taxes. That's money I could invest or spend on a dream vacation. The chapter also showed me how to bunch deductions. If I know I'll have a big expense, like a business investment or medical costs, I can time it to maximize my deductions in 1 year. Another trick is accelerating income, like taking a bonus early, if I'm in a low tax year. I was amazed by a story of a small business owner who timed their equipment purchases to claim a huge deduction, cutting their tax bill by $7,000 in a single year. What I love is that this doesn't require a finance degree. I just need to plan my cash flow and talk to a tax pro to get the timing right. The chapter also warns about mistakes, like missing deadlines for deductions or not tracking income properly. It's got me thinking about grabbing a calendar and mapping out my income and expenses to save big. This chapter makes me feel like I'm in control of my taxes for the first time ever. Chapter 19: Estate Planning, Passing Wealth Tax-Free. I'll be honest, estate planning always sounded like something for old, rich people with mansions. But Chapter 19 showed me it's for anyone who wants to pass money to their family or causes they care about without the government taking a huge cut. I'm pumped about how I can protect my wealth for the next generation and save taxes at the same time. The chapter dives into trusts, which are like a safe deposit box for my money. A trust lets me control how my assets, like my house, investments, or business, are distributed after I'm gone, and it can save my family from massive estate taxes. I read about a couple who set up a trust to pass their rental properties to their kids. By doing it right, they avoided tens of thousands in taxes, letting their kids inherit way more. That's the kind of legacy I want to leave. Another cool tool is the annual gift exclusion, where I can give up to a certain amount, like $18,000 per person in 2025, to my kids or anyone else every year without triggering gift taxes. I can also pay for things like their tuition or medical bills directly, and it doesn't count toward that limit. The chapter shared a story of a parent who gifted money to their kids over a few years, reducing their taxable estate and saving thousands in taxes down the line. The key is to start early, even if I don't have a fortune yet. A simple trust or gifting plan can grow with my wealth. The chapter stresses working with an estate planner to avoid mistakes, like setting up a trust wrong and losing tax benefits. I'm already thinking about how I can start small to protect what I'm building for my family. Chapter 20: Charitable Giving, Save Taxes and Do Good. I never thought giving to charity could make me money, but Chapter 20 proved me wrong. It's all about using charitable donations to cut my taxes while supporting causes I care about. This chapter feels like a win-win, and I'm excited to see how I can make a difference and keep more cash. Here's how it works. When I donate to a qualified charity, I can deduct the value of my gift from my taxable income. Cash donations are great, but the real magic happens with assets like stocks or property. If I donate stocks that have gone up in value, I avoid paying capital gains taxes and get a deduction for the full market value. I read about an investor who donated $10,000 worth of appreciated stock to a charity. They skipped $2,000 in capital gains taxes and got a $10,000 deduction, saving them $3,500 in taxes overall. That's like getting paid to give. The chapter also talks about donor-advised funds, which are like a charity's savings account. I can donate money or assets now, get the tax deduction right away, and decide later which charities get the funds. It's perfect for planning my giving strategically. Another trick is setting up a charitable trust, which lets me donate while still getting some income back during my lifetime. What's awesome is I don't need to be a philanthropist to do this. Even small donations, like $500 to a local food bank, can add up on my tax return. The chapter emphasizes keeping records and choosing IRS-approved charities to avoid issues. I'm already thinking about causes I love and how I can support them while shrinking my tax bill. This chapter makes me feel like I can do good and come out ahead. Chapters 18 through 20 have me buzzing with ideas. Timing my income and deductions feels like a superpower for keeping more money in my pocket, whether it's delaying a bonus or bunching expenses. Estate planning showed me how I can protect my wealth for my family, using trusts and gifts to pass money tax-free. And charitable giving? It's like a secret weapon to save taxes while making the world better. These chapters make the tax code feel like my personal wealth-building toolkit, and I don't need to be a millionaire to use it. A few smart moves, like planning my income or donating strategically, can save me thousands. The book's got more coming, like advanced business tricks and international moves, and I'm dying to dive deeper. I'm already imagining how these strategies can change my financial game. Chapters 18 through 20 have me buzzing with ideas. Timing my income and deductions feels like a superpower for keeping more money in my pocket, whether it's delaying a bonus or bunching expenses. Estate planning showed me how I can protect my wealth for my family, using trusts and gifts to pass money tax-free. And charitable giving? It's like a secret weapon to save taxes while making the world better. These chapters make the tax code feel like my personal wealth-building toolkit, and I don't need to be a millionaire to use it. A few smart moves, like planning my income or donating strategically, can save me thousands. Chapter 21, Advanced Tax Strategies. Playing like the pros. I thought I'd seen it all, but Chapter 21 takes tax saving to a whole new level with strategies that make me feel like a financial rock star. It's all about advanced moves that the wealthy use to keep their taxes low, and I'm stoked to learn I can use them too, even if I'm not a millionaire yet. One trick that grabbed me is captive insurance companies. This is where I set up my own insurance company to cover my business risks, like lawsuits or property damage. The premiums I pay are deductible, and the money sits in my company, growing tax-free. I read about a small business owner who set one up and saved $15,000 a year in taxes while building a cash reserve. It's like insuring my business and cutting taxes at the same time. Another gem is deferred compensation plans, which let me delay income to a future year when my tax bracket might be lower. For example, if I'm earning big now, I can stash some income in a plan and take it out in retirement when I owe less tax. The chapter also talks about using tax-exempt bonds or other investments that generate income the IRS can't touch. What I love is that these strategies aren't just for the ultra-rich. I can start small, like exploring municipal bonds or talking to a tax pro about deferred income. The chapter stresses working with an advisor who knows these advanced moves, because mistakes can be costly. I'm already dreaming about how I can mix these tricks with my business or investments to save big. This chapter makes me feel like I'm ready to play the tax game like a pro. Chapter 22, Audit Protection, Keeping the IRS at Bay. I'll be honest, audits sound terrifying, like the IRS knocking on my door ready to take everything. But Chapter 22 showed me how to protect myself and sleep easy knowing my taxes are bulletproof. It's all about being smart, organized, and prepared so I can keep my wealth safe. The big lesson here is that audits aren't random. They often happen when something looks fishy, like claiming huge deductions without proof. The chapter walks me through keeping rock-solid records, like receipts for business expenses or logs for my car mileage. I was amazed by a story of a business owner who avoided an audit nightmare because they had every receipt and expense tracked in a spreadsheet. That's the kind of organization I want. I also learned about substantiation, which is just a fancy word for proving my deductions are legit. For example, if I claim a home office deduction, I need to show it's a dedicated space used only for work. The chapter suggests keeping a calendar of business activities or photos of my workspace. It's simple but powerful. Another tip is to avoid red flags, like claiming losses year after year without showing a profit. The IRS might think my business is a hobby, not a real company, and disallow my deductions. The chapter also recommends working with a tax pro who can spot potential issues before I file. I'm left feeling like I can face the IRS with confidence, knowing my records are tight and my strategies are legal. This chapter has me ready to organize my finances like a fortress. Chapter 23: Planning for a Tax-Free Retirement. I used to think retirement planning was just about saving enough to chill on a beach someday, but Chapter 23 showed me it's also about keeping my money safe from taxes. This chapter is all about building a retirement plan that lets me live big without the taxman taking a cut. I'm pumped to make my golden years truly golden. The chapter dives deeper into retirement accounts, like Roth IRAs and 401ks, which I've heard about before but now see in a new light. With a Roth IRA, I pay taxes now but withdraw money tax-free in retirement. I read about a couple who maxed out their Roth IRA contributions in their 30s and ended up with a $500,000 tax-free nest egg by their 60s. That's the kind of future I want. Then there's the self-directed IRA, which lets me invest in things like real estate or private businesses inside my retirement account. The profits grow tax-free, and I can combine this with real estate tax breaks like depreciation. One investor bought a rental property in their IRA, and the rental income piled up tax-free for years. It's like a double tax win. The chapter also talks about annuities and life insurance as tax-smart tools. Some life insurance policies let me build cash value that grows tax-deferred, and I can borrow against it without paying taxes. The key is to start early and keep contributing, even if it's just a little each year. I'm already thinking about boosting my IRA contributions and exploring a self-directed account to mix things up. This chapter makes retirement feel like a tax-free adventure waiting to happen. Chapter 24: Putting it all together, your tax-free wealth plan. This final chapter is like the coach's pep talk before the big game. It pulls all the book's ideas into a step-by-step plan to build tax-free wealth, and I'm ready to hit the ground running. It's about taking everything I've learned, deductions, real estate, retirement accounts, and more, and turning it into a strategy that fits my life. The chapter starts with a mindset shift. I need to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an investor or business owner. That means taking action, like starting a side hustle to claim deductions or buying a rental property to use depreciation. I love the story of a teacher who started a small online business and used deductions to save $5,000 a year, which they reinvested into a rental property. That's the kind of plan I want to build. I also learned to set clear goals. Do I want to retire early, leave a legacy, or just keep more money now? From there, I can pick the right tools, like an LLC for my business, a Roth IRA for retirement, or a 1031 exchange for real estate. The chapter stresses working with a team, a tax advisor, lawyer, and maybe a financial planner, to make sure everything's set up right. What's powerful is how doable this feels. I don't need to do everything at once, just take one step, like setting up an LLC or contributing to an IRA, and build from there. The chapter ends with a call to action. Start now, stay consistent, and keep learning. I'm left feeling like I've got a roadmap to a wealthier, tax-free future. Chapters 21 through 24 are pure gold. Advanced strategies like captive insurance make me feel like a tax-saving pro, while audit protection has me ready to keep the IRS at bay. Planning for a tax-free retirement is giving me visions of a worry-free future, and the final chapter ties it all into a plan I can actually follow. I don't need to be a billionaire to make this work, just a few smart moves, like starting a business or investing in a Roth IRA, can save me thousands. The tax code isn't my enemy anymore, it's my partner in building wealth. I'm already itching to put these ideas into action and see how far I can go. What a ride through tax-free wealth. I'm fired up, and I hope you are too. This book isn't just about taxes, it's about taking control of my financial future and turning the tax code into my secret weapon. From slashing my tax bill with deductions and real estate to building a tax-free retirement and protecting my wealth for generations, I've learned that I don't need to be a millionaire to play the wealth-building game like one. Every chapter showed me that with a little knowledge, smart planning, and the right team, I can keep more of my money and make it grow like never before. This isn't just a book, it's a mindset shift, a call to stop letting taxes hold me back and start building the life I dream of. So, what's stopping you? Take that first step, set up a side hustle, talk to a tax pro, or explore a rental property. Your wealthier future is waiting, and it starts now. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment. What's your next tax-saving move? Let's make tax-free wealth happen together.